So this week's episode of Mushoku Tensei, Season 2, Episode 15, we have something that very few isekai ever do, and to see Nanahoshi emotionally break down. Now, Mushoku Tensei and its writing of its characters breaking, snapping, I think has always been fantastic. I mean, that was a big part of the beginning and the good chunk of Season 2 and what Rudy went through. But I think often with these isekai, you have characters that are transported to a new world, and a couple of things happen. They don't care because they quote-unquote hated their old life, they have no family, this, that, and the third. They're just a weeaboo who just doesn't even consider the fact that they have a family that's probably missing them, and the list goes on. And I think it's very interesting when you have a show like Mushoku Tensei where, on Rudy, you kind of have like the new generation of isekai in terms of just, this is their new life, right? Because their old life was so shitty. But then you have Nanahoshi, whose entire purpose is to go back home. And to see her get, over the course of the show, more and more drained, to the point that this episode, she felt very reminiscent to when Rudy almost stabbed himself in the earlier parts of Season 2. She was one wrong move away because she was fully convinced she couldn't go back home. And I think to have that emotional breakdown, not just a temper tantrum or a freak out, like she was done. She was completely over it. And to see that raw, visceral rage and just complete depression because I'm stuck in a world that isn't my home, I'm missing my family and friends. Very few isekai ever go this route, and to not just have her magically fix the issue herself, to use friends and teamwork for them to all figure out the summoning circle together. And it's not like it's cured, but the idea of layering those summoning circles and having a plastic water bottle be able to be teleported in, it gives her that hope and the idea that she's not alone. And while yes, she's definitely going to build connections, the fact that we have a character in a show like this that's not just like, screw my old world, this is okay, that was her breaking point. And it's such a real, raw, and visceral point to the show that not only does this become my favorite episode of Core 2, I think this is actually one of the defining moments of Season 2 of Mushoku Tensei to date. Of course, I have a full live reaction over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full in-depth thoughts to this or any of these wonderful Mushoku Tensei episodes, they're going to be over there if you're interested. Now, we do get a fun after the credits moment when we're carrying our girl back home. The two sisters have arrived to our doorstep, but that's not all. Sisters, that's great, that's cute, it's going to be a little spicy, one loves us, one hates us. Ruger's back. I'd be pushing those sisters away and giving my boy a hug. Screw them. Like, that's the real reward right there. I had a feeling he was going to be the one. Now, they kind of like, they don't really show you who it is when Paul's letter is being read or whatever. We see it from like Paul's perspective. Again, it kind of cuts away, but I was like, if there's going to be someone who's tasked at protecting Rudy's sisters, it's got to be my boy Ruger, right? Like, it has to be. There's no other way. So next episode is going to be fun because the house is getting a little more lively, right? So we have, of course, our girl, Sophie. We have Rudy there, and, you know, for a little bit, Nanahoshi was staying with us. I don't think she's going to be staying with us anymore, but it would be kind of funny to have her there as well. But, you know, it seems like, you know, she'll be working with Cliff and the others to do research in the tower again without completely killing herself. So we have our sisters. Rooster's going to be with us for a little bit, and it'll be fun to see where they go, right? Because the thing that makes Mushoku Tensei so good is that you didn't need Nanahoshi's breakdown in order for this episode to be worthwhile and solid. It's just great to see how characters interact with each other and how it actually feels like people talking with one another. The insecurities, the funniness, the everything that makes a human is seen in episodes like these. But yes, the best part hands down was of course Nanahoshi's stuff. And I like how when he goes in and sees her just breaking everything, like, that has to be some of the best animation I can remember in a little bit from Mushoku Tensei. Now, if you look at it's very similar to when our boy disarmed, what's his name, Luke, in terms of that one-on-one duel. You know how fast the animation and the movements, the line work and everything. Moments like those are really, really impressive. But Nanahoshi, just how she was, like, her emotions were just pouring out. It felt like someone actually freaking out in real life and picking it up and smashing and just bringing her home, because what else can you do? The fact that they find, like, the knife on her and stuff. It's just, to see her just, like, yeah, Rudy was looking tired, but she looked like she had no joy in her heart. Like, it was as if you were looking into the pits of hell. She was that emotionless and lifeless that she's like, I thought it was like circuit boards and it's hopeless. I'm stuck here. And I think, imagine dedicating your entire life since being isekai'd, right? And the fact that not only did I waste my time because it's impossible, I gave myself, you know, because imagine, right? You get isekai'd, Yeah, it's a cultural shock. Oh my god, I can't see my friends, I can't see my family. But if you process that over the first couple of weeks of being in a world, it's gonna get easier the longer you are, right? It's like a death in the family. The first couple of weeks, yes, definitely. But if you lie to yourself and say they're not actually dead and you can bring them back to life, it's gonna get more and more tragic the longer you wait to get the truth. And that's basically what she was dealing with. It was as if maybe if I would have just accepted it was impossible from the beginning, I wouldn't feel like this, but why even exist? Like, she was at her breaking limit. And I think seeing another character other than Rudy kind of reach that point, and I mean, people are going to make their memes and their jokes about very two different reasons of why they reached that point, but I mean, health issues, I mean, that's really what ED is. It's a health issue, and it can really mess with people. So, you know, people want to make fun of that all they want. I think it says a lot more about them than it does about Rudy as a character, personally, but that's just me. But I will admit, Nanahoshi's is my favorite of the breakdowns 100% because you don't see it too often. I'm not saying she's the first isekai character to actually want to go back home and actually feel like she misses her family, but you don't see it often, and I think this is actually one of the most realistic takes of wanting to go back home, dedicating how many years of her life to do so, and almost just giving up altogether because what's the point? And the fact that rather than it's just Rudy magically figuring it out, the group collectively did it, and to see her immediately get happier, and then, you know, she's like, oh, this doesn't work, and Cliff comes in, it's just very, very sweet. And I like the fact that the message is that you can't go at it alone, right? Like, things are about teamwork, they're about friends, and you know, if this is her passion to go back home, we have to support her and not just let her deal with it herself. They slept in that tower day after night after they brought her back and they figured out the idea of layering. That is such a really sweet detail, but it shows not only just like how much this group means to all of them, but how far like Rudy as a character has grown. Like, that's the big thing about Mushoku Tensei, is that there's a lot of shit in this show, whether it's from Rudy, whether it's from Paul, whether it's from many characters that do arguably shitty, if not disgusting and immoral things throughout this show. And it's like, to see the growth and to see how the story evolves these characters. I mean, you look at a show like Game of Thrones, right? One of the most mainstream shows of all time. And I think if you throw a rock into the crowd of any character in Game of Thrones, they've all at least done one evil moral act. But that show is still popular because people liked it. I don't care about the ending discussion. Like, the point is like, a lot of times, because it's like, you don't have to say you want to be that character just because you watch a show with a character like it, right? Like, it's just so weird to see people like so up in arms that it's like, oh, if you watch Mushoku Tensei, you want to do that act that this character. It's like, no, I'm just trying to watch a good story. Like, bro, I would watch movies and shows that are just about villains trying to destroy the world. Doesn't mean I actually want to watch the world get destroyed in my own world. Use your brain. And I think that's one of the best parts about Mushoku Tensei, is seeing the growth. It doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, you know, necessarily this type of growth should be applied to someone. It's like, I don't care about that. I'm watching a show, bitch. Let me watch Mushoku Tensei. Why do we have to make it into this big conspiracy theory? It's just, I don't know. I think it's just a lot of salty people who are lonely online, because otherwise it makes no sense. Because shit I don't like online, I literally just don't watch. There's a reason why I talk about the stuff I enjoy on my channel, and then I just drop stuff I don't enjoy, but a lot of hate watchers out there. And I think what's great is watching a season like season 2, seeing that amazing growth on Rudy, and then just throwing us a curveball and having Nanahoshi reach similar breaking points and be like, damn, they didn't need to give us a second isekai character who goes through that emotional, realistic breakdown, but thank you for doing so. But that's all for me. Let me know what you thought. I definitely think this is one of the strongest moments of season 2 to date, but let me know how you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got that Random Man, Anime Man, Paul Tar, Zen Virus, Edvar, and Golden Angel 1517. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.